God damn, my head's gigantic. Um, Napoleon Bonaparte once said that history is a myth that men agree to believe. And I'm sure you've all heard that winners write the history books. Now, today I want to talk about the myths that we were told in history, the lies, etc., etc. I'm gonna take down a few, take down a few big presidents, and have some fun while doing it. Now, I don't have to go through the fact that Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. If you don't know that, go back to third grade, stop watching this video. I can also tell you that Thomas Jefferson actually owned slaves, as many of the founding fathers did, even though they believed in this great freedom, etc., etc. If you don't know that, go back to third grade. Again, your seat is waiting for you. Now, I want to start with Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln is one of the most revered presidents in American history, and a lot of what we're told about him is just complete and total horseshit. Abraham Lincoln didn't care about black people, and he didn't care about slavery. He wasn't even an abolitionist. Abraham Lincoln, before the Civil War started, proposed an amendment. This amendment said that slavery would be legal forever, and no other constitutional amendment can repeal that amendment, which means that A, Abraham Lincoln doesn't understand the Constitution. You can't make super duper amendments. And B, it means he wasn't an abolitionist. In fact, the Emancipation Proclamation originally only applied to the states that had left the Union. Now, the reason he did this is because it was a battle strategy. He wanted to create chaos throughout the southern states that left the Union, but he didn't want to alienate the southern states that were still in the Union that owned slaves, because he doesn't care about black people. In fact, after the war ended, and a lot of historians will try and feed you a line about how he abandoned this view, it's totally not true. You could look it up. Up until the day he died, Abraham Lincoln was working on a plan to ship all of the black people back to Africa, because he hated them and he blamed them for a whole bunch of shit that wasn't their fault, because they were brought here by white people. Now, the next president I want to get to is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Now, again, there's so much mythology around Roosevelt that's just total, nonsense. First of all, FDR, what we overlook with FDR is amazing. We overlook the fact that he stole people's gold through an executive order, which is illegal. Because to get us out of the Depression, what he did is he stole people's gold, and then he raised the price of gold after he stole people's gold. So he's a scumbag. FDR also imprisoned Americans because of the continent that their families were born on. And I'm talking about Japanese Americans in the 40s. Look it up. And another great thing that FDR theoretically did was create Social Security, which is true. He did create Social Security, but it wasn't to help old people. Social Security, originally, you got it when you were 65. When Social Security was created, the average life expectancy for an American was 61. FDR created Social Security to rob you. So the fact that Social Security now has been robbed should surprise nobody, because that is the original intent of Social Security. To take all your money, spend it on stupid fucking bullshit, and then eventually when too many people come to collect all their money at the same time, be like, it's gone. What are you going to do? Raise the retirement age, whatever. They stole your money. Now the next president, and this is a guy who essentially idolized FDR, was Lyndon Johnson, that I want to just get the hell out of my way. Lyndon Johnson is a scumbag, first of all. He started the Vietnam War based on lies. In fact, he's closer to George Bush in his foreign policy than any other president, starting a fake war for fake reasons and killing real Americans. I mean, the Gulf of Tonkin incident never happened. If it was declassified in 2004, it never happened. Lyndon Johnson lied to the American people, drafted us, and sent us to a horrible, pointless war where 58,000 Americans died and over 1 million Vietnamese died. And he's considered an amazing man because he did civil rights. And Civil Rights Act was great. I can't hate on it or anything like that. I mean, but you have to look at every side of it. I mean, this guy was a pretty big scumbag. And he was doing it because he idolized FDR. He thought you had to create a huge entitlement. He created Medicare and Medicaid. And you had to win a big war. So he created the huge entitlement, but then he started a pointless war because he wanted to win one, which he didn't because he's a loser. Now, most people, I don't even want to get into the Kennedy assassination. Most people already don't believe the official story behind the Kennedy assassination because The official story is complete horseshit. And for some reason, every witness that was around at the time died in a mysterious accident after Kennedy was assassinated. Would you look at that? I mean, and RFK was assassinated under suspicious circumstances, and then recently another witness said, yeah, there was another gunman. But ignore all that. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about Martin Luther King. Now, Martin Luther King nowadays is brought up in the context of gay rights and like gay civil liberties, whatever, gay marriage, etc., etc. Now, I'm fully in favor of gay marriage, gay rights. I don't give a fuck what you call it. I think they're just human rights, and since gay people are human, then they're entitled to the same rights. But Martin Luther King was not in favor of gay rights. Martin Luther King hated gay people. Read any of his quotes about gay people. He says, I hate gay people. They're an abomination. Homosexuality is a sin. Basically, he's the Republican Party on that issue. Now, Martin Luther King also hated rock and roll and thought it was devil worship. So, I mean, grain of salt. What my point is, what gay people should actually be saying is, what will be more accurate, is like Thomas Jefferson. A lot of people believe in Jeffersonian liberties, even though Jefferson wasn't perfect. You believe in the ideas, not the man. You believe in the ideas of nonviolent resistance. You believe in the ideas of civil liberty as spoken about by Martin Luther King, even though Martin Luther King doesn't agree with me specifically on this issue. Now, the greatest myth, obviously, the Republicans are just the best at everything. They're the best liars. The greatest myth that surrounds modern-day politics is the ghost of Ronald Reagan. Now, essentially, most Republicans or Christian conservatives believe that the greatest people to ever live in order are Ronald Reagan, Tim Tebow, and then Jesus. In fact, the Holy Trinity is Reagan at the top, Tim Tebow, kind of like, Tim Tebow like this, and Jesus at the bottom of the triangle, Trinity triangle. I don't give a fuck. They think Reagan is awesome. Ronald Wilson Reagan is like their real god. They should just start a church and start worshiping him already. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, every Republican now, except for Ron Paul, who's the only one, by the way, who Reagan actually liked, if you read any of his quotes, but every Republican compares themselves to Ronald Reagan. He's so awesome, we love him, we just want to snuggle up with his ghost. He's an amazing man. And they're all Reagan conservatives, except they're not. Now, I could go through a million examples. Reagan was for amnesty. All these Republicans hate illegal immigrants. Reagan negotiated with terrorists. All these people say that's ridiculous. Reagan left Lebanon after our soldiers got blown up. And no Republican or Democrat, by the way, ever wants to leave a war ever. But I want to talk about how in 1983, Ronald Reagan's Justice Department, that's right, Ronald Reagan, Republican god, prosecuted a Texas sheriff and 3 of his deputies for torture. Now, they were torturing their prisoners in order to get confessions out of them. Guess which method that Ronald Reagan found so offensive that he thought was torture and convicted them of? Waterboarding. So all these fucking Reagan conservatives, fake Reagan conservatives who worship him, who would kiss his feet, who would dig up his body just to touch him one more time, who love his hair, rewatch his movies while they stroke themselves, they're all full of crap. Ronald Reagan believed waterboarding was torture, and all these guys say it's enhanced interrogation, won't hurt anybody. In fact, Ronald Reagan convicted more people of torture, waterboarding torture, than Barack Obama, the Maoist socialist that's the most evil man in the world. So Ronald Reagan is more pro-civil liberties in this instance than Barack Obama. History is a myth men agree to believe. But we don't have to agree to believe it. Research, find your own answers, and it's important to understand the past to understand the future. So I'm Sean, something history, subscribe, like, I don't give a fuck. Good night.